There was clearly a common recognition, a common diagnosis of what is happening at the moment, and a shared sense of common purpose. There was no denial, there was no finger pointing. It was about recognition and it was about support. However grave and serious the moment is, we are also, and the global economy is also halfway through the work that needs to be done. Because if you look at financial regulation, if you look at crisis management, if you look at improved governance, for instance, in the eurozone, we will continue to support the low-income countries strongly, be it by policy advice, by specific surveillance, by specific lending instrument. And in that vein, I would simply call your attention to the fact that we will be shortly discussing what we call a vulnerability exercise paper, which will focus specifically on the low-income countries. That will be discussed at the board in the coming weeks. And second, we will mechanically extend the very concessional terms at which our PRGT facility is extended to the low-income countries. That's the Poverty Reduction and Growth facility that is extended at virtually zero interest. That will be continued in 2012.
So the issue that we're watching quite closely now is the question of whether the drop in confidence that you've seen in developed countries would extend to developing countries. And so whether the business investment, their consumers, and that would of course affect domestic demand. And the challenge of course is that in that sort of context, the data we have would be starting to show up in some things like purchasing manager indices, but it's very early, but it's showing deterioration. So at least the key message that I believe, or at least speaking for myself coming out of these meetings, is we're even moving closer to the edge, because if developing countries start to lose domestic demand, then the source of what's been half of global growth evaporates. And then obviously, for example, the World Economic Outlook forecasts sort of had a drop in developed countries. It had developing countries come down a little bit, but still be steady. Well, that would obviously be in question.